Hi everybody, I'm Kathleen Byram, and I'm the author of Conversations with Donkey, A Bipolar Journey. It's available on Amazon and Walmart and others. What I'd like to talk to you about today is my experiences in church. And this is not going to be a pleasant commentary. So if you have strong feelings about your church or church in general, you have been warned that this may not make you happy. Okay? Now, I have had a very uncomfortable background with church. I don't quite feel the same way about it today, but in the past, I have been to many churches, and all of them left me feeling, oh my gosh, the Jasper situation. I have to write that down real quick so I can tell you about it. In fact, I might just open up with it and tell you now. When I lived in southern Indiana, there was a church in another town, and I was going to school there in that other town, and so I was driving through the main road there. One day I drove by and I saw that there was a new preacher on the Baptist sign for the church. It told about the preacher that was there and how he was going to be debuting, maybe? I'm not sure, but as you'll see later, they may not have known him very well. So I'm thinking he was new. Anyway, I'm sorry about that. I decided I wanted to go. And so that next Sunday, I showed up at church, at this new church, and I don't remember anything about how they treated me or things like that. That didn't stick in my mind. What stuck in my mind was that he got up there and he started talking about the Grand Canyon. Slippery slope, red flag. And to what did my wondering ears appear but the words, "a million year." No, 1,000,000 years, 2,000,000 years, 5,000,000 years, 100,000,000 years, I don't know. All I know is he spoke of the earth of being zillions of years old instead of like 6,000 or something. I heard that and I went, whoa. And I turned and I was so out of myself and into what was happening, I didn't even think about the rudeness of what I was doing. I just turned in that seat and I was like, looking at everybody to see their reactions, because I knew it wasn't gonna be good. And I was so excited for him for having said it. It was amazing. I thought, is this church going to get radicalized or something? I don't know if I'm using that word right. And I saw this one guy and his face was like, and I looked around and nobody seemed happy. The next time when I drove by that church, there was a new preacher on the board. that's kind of what's wrong with church, a little. One of the things. I remember I had what I called a black roommate. I call them African American now because it just sounds more real. I don't know. Sometimes I interchange them so it doesn't sound like I'm saying the same word over and over and over and over. You know how you use a pronoun instead of someone's name because you don't want to keep saying their name repeatedly? It sounds weird. So I kind of interchange them. Just a little heads up there about that. So I had a black roommate who I liked, and we lived in a poor part of town where there was a bus, and I could take the bus to go places. I had to walk a little bit, but it wasn't too bad, maybe a couple blocks or 3 or something. And I wanted to go to a black church because I thought I was missing out on something good, and I might have been. So I was going with her on either Wednesday or Sunday, I can't remember now, and I was going with my grandmother to her Baptist church on the other day, Wednesday or Sunday. Well, I got there and I was the only white person there, and I felt like I had interfered. I felt like an intruder. I didn't want to feel like an intruder. I wanted to be welcomed and feel good there. But maybe that was wrong of me. I don't know. I'm not smart about these things. I'm constantly learning. Anyway, the preacher got up there and he told them to not be, basically, to use street vernacular, hating on the white chick. Yeah, that's what he said. It was like, now, it's okay for a white person to be here and blah-de-blah. And I was mortified. I was mortified because it never occurred to me that they might feel that way. And maybe he was smarter than I gave him credit for. Maybe he was doing it because he knew I would be mortified and I would realize something that I should have realized before. I don't know. But it made me feel awful, and it seems like I kept going with her there. I continued to go with her. I may have talked to her about the situation, and she may have convinced me to keep coming. I don't know. I don't remember that part. Another thing I remember about that roommate, now this is getting into race stuff. I don't want to get into that. I want to stay on church. So, I was such a uncomfortable child. I was uncomfortable in my own skin. I was clumsy. I would walk people off a sidewalk because I would walk in an angle and push them off the sidewalk, sort of. And I had to take dance lessons. My mom had me take dance lessons because she thought it would give me some grace, I think, which I did not have. I was not I don't know where I'm going with this. Oh, it's because of I was wanting to talk about singing, is what I wanted to talk about. I was scared to death to sing in front of anyone. And I wasn't a good singer. But when accompanied by music and knowing the song well, I could do average. And so my grandmother played the piano, and she had done it for years at her church when she was young, so she was very good at it. And she had me to sing a song. I don't even remember which one it was now. I just remember that at one point I was so afraid of what I was doing. I felt like if I didn't do it, that it would be a sin, because I felt like something was telling me that I had to do it, but I didn't know if it was just me tormenting myself or something else. And so the cat, come here, kitty. The cat's trying to move the screen. And so I was so scared that my throat closed up. I could not sing. It was like it was as if the vocal cords got cut off, just like that, sliced off. And it was mortifying. And I tried, and it came back. And later, she said to me, she thought I had forgotten the words. How could I have forgotten the words? I had sang that and practiced that with her so many times. It may have been He Lives that I sang. I serve a risen Savior. Yes, I think it was He Lives. And it was like one of my favorite songs to sing in church, not in front of people. But I did this cruelty to myself, making myself have to do it. And that's the way I was in church. I was cruel to myself. I remember a picture that I found of me when I was probably about 11. I had on this short dress that looked like an old Waffle House brown dress, and I was wearing knee-high brown leather-looking boots, and my hair was short and shaggy looking. It hadn't been curled or anything, and I had no makeup on. Of course, I was 11. I didn't wear makeup at 11. And I felt like such a goober, and I'm wondering, I don't think I dressed that way myself. I think maybe it could have been that was the only clean dress I had or something available, and that Mom said, you're going to have to wear something that goes with it, and so she picked the boots. I don't know, but I remember feeling so skanky. Another thing that I remember about church was this couple with a family who were, I think they used to be the vice pastor or whatever you call it, I can't think. And they came from Portland to see us and talk, and they did a really good talk. It was so wonderful, so great, and I was so pumped up that when they got done and came down the aisle and everybody got up, I burst down the aisle with uncharacteristic enthusiasm and told them how incredibly wonderful it was, and that they came all the way from Portland, Oregon, and blah, 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 blah. And I found out they were from Portland, Indiana. They were just close by. That was embarrassing. I felt like a schmuck also for being so enthusiastic. One time, oh boy, this is embarrassing. when I was probably 11 or so, when I first started going to that church with my grandmother. My grandmother was playing the piano, and I was sitting next to the preacher's wife up front. He said something that I found either wrong or disagreeable or something, and guess what I did? I raised my hand in church. I'm going to admit that part of me seemed to know what I was doing was wrong, and that I was doing it evilly for the purpose of being a little biatch. And the preacher's wife took my hand and pushed it down, and I glared at her. I would have preferred that she whispered to me, "We don't do that in church." That would have shamed me. It's been 16 minutes, and it's going to take forever on my computer to download this or upload it or whatever you call it. I'm not tech savvy. Anyway, thank you for listening to me babble about church. And if you have any of your own experiences you'd like to talk about, please put them down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. I love hearing from people. And if you just take a second and flick the like button for me, it helps the algorithm get me seen by more people. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.